skill and experience matters a lot. You have to be fantastic to be able to do it. So I came back with a fire to make the best portfolio I could ever do after my arm healed. And I started doing that, and I realized I'm not doing an art portfolio. I'm making one of my D&D stories, characters and settings and locations, and every note I do is based on that. And that's what I want to do, because that is where my fire is. That is what I've been doing without realizing for years.
Welcome to Tabletop Talk, the podcast where I delve into the minds of tabletop gaming creatives. Join me as I uncover their creative process and inspirations. You are in the right place if you enjoy listening to thoughtful interviews with creative people.
Hello, my name is Sam Dunawalt, and when I'm not breaking down game mechanics on the Dice Exploder podcast, you better believe I'm listening to Tabletop Talk.
Howdy friends, Craig here. My guest today is Dean from OneShotTPK. Dean worked as a software engineer for a few years, and during the pandemic left to study concept art. Animation seemed like the destination at first, but he quickly realized he was building up a skill set for tabletop gaming. After finishing his art classes, he drove straight into creating the kinds of games he wanted to see in the world. Dean, welcome to the third floor.
Hi, Greg. Thank you for having me.
So we were talking before, we hit record, and you let me know that you listen to the show, so you know what's coming. At one point, you knew nothing about this hobby. You were busy working on your art and drawing and everything else, or maybe even before that. But the game as a hobby was put in front of you for the first time. Can you take me back there?
Yeah, of course. So it happened to me a little bit later than most, I think. It was in my early to mid-20s, which, God, it's like 10 years ago now. I kind of knew what those D&D stuff was about. I always wanted to try it, but never had the opportunity to. And one day, a friend of mine was like, I'm gonna go to a D&D event. Do you want to come? I'm like, yeah, sure. What's that? Like, some people are organizing. They're running a few games. And I've been there before. Seems something you're gonna like. I'm like, sure, let's go. We went. We sat on a table, and some really cool guy gave us a few pieces of paper, and we started. We continued what they were playing before. So my friend was playing a dwarf. Another friend of mine was playing some kind of rogue, if I remember correctly, and they put in front of me a barbarian. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I know what those are like, so let's play. And what started there was a snowball of a lot of years of love. But there were two specific scenes in that game that will stay with me forever. There were, for the most of the years to come, my highest high and my lowest low in one session. We were in a wagon going across the fields, and the DM starts to introduce us to a new location, and he starts describing a very big rock formation, and I was imagining something like the Uluru Rock from Australia, and I was lost in what he was saying. And at some point he goes, Dean, do you want to name that rock formation? And I was like, what, me? Yeah, it's the Rock. And I could see everyone's disappointment in the table. My friend was looking at me like, what? Why did I bring you here? This is not for you. And there was a stroke of inspiration I channeled from the universe, and I went in real serious, and I went, well, where I come from, my people, we believe that everything that exists has a perfect image somewhere that is modeled around it. So every forest has one perfect tree inside it, every flower, every bird. And looking at something as majestic as this, I believe this is the Rock.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And they were looking at me like, where did you pull that off? And I'm like, yeah, this is where I should be. I love this thing. How I created something that is now canon in this world out of nothing. And then I proceeded like 5 minutes afterwards to do the cringiest battle attempts because I thought I was like a superhero at level 1. And yeah, that's basically my first experience. By the way, after that session ended, I went straight to the organizers and asked them to DM a game, and they did no background check, and they let me.
Oh, bless.
So I spent like 2 weeks learning everything I could for a game I've played once.
Wow.
And I picked a one shot from the internet. I changed it as much as I could because I thought just running it as it was cheating. And I came back and ran a game. Everyone had fun. It was like playing a movie. And afterwards, a very seasoned player came to me and told me that was very good, but just like as a note for next time, we don't usually let level 2 adventurers kill off adult white dragons, but good job otherwise.
So do you have a sense, Dean, of why you had that immediate need to run a game that you play once and something told you to seek out to be on the other side of the screen? Do you know why?
Oh, I've thought about this so many times and so much. It's probably a number of things. There's definitely something in me that has some control issues of like I want to make this. I want to be part of like what is presenting. And then it's the joy that I felt when I could insert something. I wanted that to experiencing from things and ideas I already have, to bring them into see them through strangers' eyes and through my friends' perspective. And just basically, I love to give people toys to play with and see how they can break them and make them like 1,000 times better.
Right.
Also, I think at some degree, I'm not the best role player. I think I'm better at sifting like characters and locations instead of just focusing on one point of view. I get easily sidetracked.
Why is that?
I feel like there's always so many things I want to try out that when I play one character, it gets into 4 sessions and I'm like, I already have like 4 other ideas. Like I can't go more here.
Yeah. Yep. So D&D was the first, like for many people. What was the next big game that you came across that kind of ignited it and you got excited about? Do you remember?
I remember 2. I continued DMing for those very kind people on those events. And when I realized, well, in Greece, the D&D scene is more old school. My kind of like more dungeon crawling stuff. My kind of playing is a little bit of Terry Pratchett-ish. Very serious and very silly at the same time. So I looked around and I found Rises, the anything RPG, which I think was fantastic for what I was looking for at the time. Very, very freeing to be able to make a character that is both a Viking and a lawyer at the same time. I tried that for a little while, and then I came across Lady Blackbird, which was a revelation. I could not imagine how I ran entire campaigns from 2-3 pages of rules, and I had so much fun with it, and it made me realize what was possible in this. I can't even begin to tell you how much I love this game.
That game is a little miracle.
Yes,
it really is, and I think we can forget how ahead of things it was, right? Because you look at Lady Blackbird now, and it loses nothing, right? It seems like a game that was written today, but it wasn't written today.
For sure.
And John's ability to lace the game with the entire world without telling you the world and giving you room to make the world as you play, you can see the steps that led to like Blades in the Dark and Duskfall and Blades in the Dark. It's a brilliant game. I still have not run that, and I keep forgetting about the damn game, and I need to. And I think John still has it free on his website.
Yeah,
you can just go and grab it. So yeah, if you're listening and you don't even need to run, just read the game. You should definitely check it out. So now let's talk about, Dean, when you started realizing I think I want to make a game. Do you have a memory of or a recollection of when that itch started to appear that you needed to scratch?
Well, as you probably realized, I jump into things very headfirst, and I run D&D mostly and other things, usually homebrewing and making my own stories. It took at least a couple of years before I turned into a module, and I did that mostly for research and studying. I never thought I would actually go into the full design and creation. I thought I would keep it into my little group and my events and have a little fun with it. And I thought I would be actually a concept artist for a while. But after I finished my studies, and actually it was a little bit weird because I was scheduled to go with a lot of my classmates to an international film festival that had a lot of recruiters and stuff, and we were building portfolios, and I broke my arm like a month before.
Oh, jeez.
So I could not do a portfolio, and I made it into vacation instead. But I realized two things there. Firstly, I was nowhere near to what the industry wanted, and that's probably also that I didn't feel ready to work on other people's stuff. Which in that industry, skill and experience matters a lot. You have to be fantastic to be able to do it. So I came back with a fire to make the best portfolio I could ever do after my arm healed. And I started doing that, and I realized I'm not doing an art portfolio. I'm making one of my D&D stories, characters and settings and locations, and every note I do is based on that. And that's what I want to do, because that is where my fire is. That is what I've been doing without realizing for years. So in kind of another jolt of inspiration, I was like, I'll do it. I'll make a Kickstarter for it, and I see if people like what I'm doing, and kind of went from there. It gave me the I as I started playing with D&D, I started my crowdfunding process with D&D, and it kind of gave me the courage to turn to my other stuff, my more personal and games and things that I used to only show to my friends, and even there,
right.
It was like a little bit.
the stuff in your closet.
Exactly.
So guys, the Insider Insight series allows me to sit down with designers, developers, artists, writers, and creators to learn how they approach their work. I try to understand their process, inspiration, and the methods for crafting their creations. We're going to do that with Dean on the other side of the break. We're going to find out where the hell Trenchcoat Raccoons came from. This is the part of many podcasts where someone comes on, interrupts the show, and explains that you should consider paying for the content that you're listening to right now for free. That pitchman explains by giving $1 or more a month, you not only support the show, but you allow the show to grow and improve. Here on the third floor, we refuse to interrupt your episode of Tabletop Talk with such time-wasting pleas. We pledge never to run a spot asking you to go to patreon.com and give $1 or more a month, because supporting content creators keeps the content coming, even if there is a link in the show's description. And there is. We don't ask you to click it and become a patron. We don't waste time rambling about the benefits like early access to episodes, getting episodes without ad breaks like this, or even getting a chance to play in one of Craig's RPG sessions. Anyway, enjoy this episode knowing Tabletop Talk, despite being supported by its patrons, won't engage in such blatant appeals for support. So, Dean, before we talk about where Trenchcoat Raccoons came from, we have to understand the game. So, there's some really good copy I found that describes the game. I'm going to read it to everybody. Trenchcoat Raccoons is a fast, fail-forward TTRPG of chaotic heists, cartoon logic, and the glorious disaster. Each player controls one raccoon in a stack, all pretending to be one very suspicious human in a trench coat. Together you are stealing cursed loot in a world of glam horror, glittering galas, mad scientists, and cryptid conspiracies. Blending the slick heist energy of Sly Cooper, the chaotic camaraderie of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the paranormal absurdity of Gravity Falls into one stack of disaster raccoons, constantly derailed by their own wild impulses. Really good copy, by the way. I don't know if you wrote that or if you had somebody write it, but it's good.
I did it, but it took me like days and days.
So I want to go to the day before this first started. What is the acorn that grew into Trenchcoat Raccoons? Where do you look back and find the initial idea?
Well, I'm pretty lucky to be able to pinpoint that. It was a couple years ago, again, into those events I mentioned before. They started doing themed nights after a while, and I wanted to run a table. I've been out of town for a little while, so I reached out and told them I'm coming back next month. Do you have an event? I'd like to be in it. I'm like, yeah, sure. We're running one. It's chaos themed. Like, that sounds fantastic. I'll run Everyone is John, which
Nice.
I think is gonna fit right in. Little asterisk, I knew about Everyone's John. I have not read the rules before I've said and agreed I'm gonna run it, but I knew the concept.
We're picking up a theme here, Dean.
There is a theme, for sure. And I knew it was also a small game, so I was confident by then in my abilities. It's gonna be fun. I went into the internet, I found the rules, I read through them, and I loved it. There was a few things I didn't really like at first. There was a bidding mechanic. For everyone that does not know,
Yep.
Everyone is John is a game where everyone controls one player named John. They're basically voices inside his head, and they make him do whatever they want. And to change control of that character, you bid some tokens. Everyone starts with 10. I was looking at that, and I was like, I guess I understand how this works, but I can't understand how to run this. So again, I turned to Reddit and started to see what other people were doing with it, and I realized two things. First, I did not really like that mechanic, and secondly, I was horrified because it seemed to me that that kind of game is perfect for a table of your friends, but probably not great for strangers. It could get very ugly,
Could see that. Yep.
very fast. So I started getting a little bit anxious. Like maybe I picked the wrong thing, backed myself into a corner there. I started researching more into the safety tools that were available, and I realized if you're running chaos themed nights, overloading it with safety tools that can break in a single line, it's not a good idea. So I thought, how can I make this safe, welcoming, and fun at the same time? Where is the theme or what genre makes that any kind of action is okay? You need a filter, and for me that filter is Looney Tunes, because if you take that out of context, it's horrific. But as long as Wile E. Coyote is there in the next scene, dusted off, and keep going at it, everything's okay. So I'm like, I'll make it a cartoon thing. I'll keep it as is. It didn't really make sense to me. I kept digging through it, and what I had a problem with was, why would they control the same person? So I leaned back into it. It kinda dawned on me that the most cartoonish way that you can control the same entity is the trope that three kids in a trench coat, kobolds, raccoons, goblins, everything. That's been around for a while. And from there, raccoons for me, since I'm a very big fan of the Sly Cooper games on the PlayStation 2, they mean heists. So there I have it. I had a theme that was safe and could restrain sadly, everyone to non-doing very weird things at the table. They are locked in cartoon energy. I have an adventure idea. It's gonna be a heist. And since it is cartoons, I can make it as ridiculous as I want. I can put everything in it, and it makes sense. So I pulled from everything I liked. I changed a few things because, as I mentioned, I didn't like the bidding mechanic. I pulled some. I was also reading Eat the Reich back then from.
Oh yeah.
So I was kind
I'm a
of
huge fan of that
very
game.
very good. So I was very locked into pre-made characters. So I pulled from Sly Cooper and I got the thief, the brains, and the brawn, and I ran it for 3 people, and they had a lot of fun, and I also had a lot of fun. So after that I would go and do my own thing and return to jot a few more notes once in a while to the game. But that's basically where it started. I backed myself into a corner and I needed to get out of it.
Yeah. That was your first playtest, for crying out loud. So if I were to, Dean, go back in time and watch you run it for the first time, the first version of this game, and then read my copy of it now, what is something that didn't change? What is something that was present at the very beginning that survived all the iterations and playtesting you've done, and we see it in Trenchcoat now?
I did a lot of changes that were dismissed. My first idea was the core gameplay, that everyone rolls for the same action, and when you roll a 1, you change control and you become top of the stack. That was what for me back then was. I have 3 days that works for now. And for months I would try different things. I would go and have leveling systems. I would have headquarter designs, and I would figure out ways to make the thing I wanted make sense with dice. And it turned out that where I started was the best base for that. And it took me a while to actually accept that, because you feel like it was the first idea. It can't be solid. And of course, it needed a few trimmings here and there. It needed a lot of support systems to sign, but it was good at first. As a foundation, it worked exceptionally well for what I wanted this game to be. So that core mechanic, weirdly enough, existed from day one.
So Dean, as you started, and it sounds like you were already playing around trying to solve a problem you didn't have, which is this core mechanic that survived. But I'm also hearing from designers that, in the iteration process, it's not just a straight line up, right? From beginning to end, that it's a lot of plateaus where you go through these iterations and nothing really changes, nothing improves. And then you try something and, it's the perfect gear that fits perfectly in this watch. Can you give me an idea, as you're going through the iteration process, when some of those things were a level up for you, where you realized, I've now got, a new idea, a new iteration, new mechanic, new theme, and it stays. And you knew as soon as you put it in the game that this is what it needed. Do you have examples of that?
Yeah, that is the signees. That started as a chaos game. Trenchcoat Raccoons started as a chaos game, and I kind of wanted to make it pass as a legit game. I did it. I did some.
Well, hold on a second, Dean. Hold 1 second. We need to talk about what you see as the difference between a chaos game and a legitimate game. What is the difference in your mind?
No difference, but back then I thought it wasn't enough for people to take it seriously. I thought it needed to be something different than when I started. It's mostly that I had some self-confident issues with wanting to make it perfect instead of trusting what I would have more fun and enjoy with. Right. So it kind of, all the things I scrapped at the end were what would make it a heist game. There are genius things and systems and mechanics that heist games use. The best one, which I think is a fantastic idea, is the flashback mechanic, which emulates the perfect way for creating a perfect plan. without having your players to figure it out. And
Yep.
I played around with mechanics like that, and then I realized, but those are raccoons and they're cartoons. They don't need a perfect plan. That's the point.
They probably don't have a plan.
Exactly. And when I realized that, well, where I allowed myself to believe that that was okay to do, I started to be in a flow of game designing. And instead of searching for how those raccoons are gonna pull off a heist, I switched my mindset around and what can I do to make them not pull off a heist? How
Nice.
to make them their lives difficult. And that was where I introduced signies, because I'm a little bit ADHD, and I think all raccoons are as well. So I thought, well, they're trying to steal one big thing, but there's probably a lot of little things that they're gonna steal along the way, and that should distract them. That should make them fight among themselves, switch places in the Trenchcoat, and that clicked. And I was like, yeah, that's what I need. And at first, signies were like just signies, treasure, maybe some bottle cap, and then I realized, well, treasure is one man's treasure is another man's trash, or the opposite. And
Yep.
raccoons are known as trash pandas, so I kind of opened myself to maybe it's not even a tangible thing. One tangible thing can come out of it, but maybe it's just a raccoon wanting the spotlight because they're a little bit of a diva and they see someone making a speech and they're like, no, I want to do that. Get them out of the stage. It's my time to sign.
Right.
So that was a very big, okay, now I'm having something that is solid. It's what I like, and I could see people enjoying that as well.
So in the description, something that really caught my eye, and I want to learn about it a little bit, is you mentioned glam horror, and you also mentioned cryptid conspiracies. So can you give me an idea of how those two elements fit into the game?
Yeah, I mentioned that cartoons give the freedom to do whatever you want and put whatever you want in it. So I wanted to put things I really, really like in them. And what I like is weird villains like Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb. I like
Sure.
the little weird creatures, right, like the Montars or the gnomes from Gravity Falls. And I like the anthropomorphic characters from Sly Raccoon as well. And even the more nonsensical things from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Everything that you can think, you can put in. So my first idea to run a session was they're gonna steal, the raccoons are gonna steal a recipe from a baker. I called her a pastry chef, more likely, not a baker. I called her Marie Eclair because I thought that sounded a little punny and fitting. And while I was playing, I thought that's a little bit too not interesting enough. It's fun. So what can I do with that? I'll make her a vampire, but that doesn't make sense. It's too simple. So I thought, how can I twist it a little bit? I'll make her a fruit vampire, and she doesn't want blood. She wants fruit. So then the pastry chef got out of the way. I made her a juice magnate with a little empire, and then it became more like a high society thing, because that also is a good place to put cartoons and heists in. And it kind of started like, if my first antagonist is kind of a weird creature, then also my protagonist, my players are playing a weird creature. And
Right.
one weird human in a trenchcoat, that's a cryptid. No one knows if they've seen it, if it's real, if it's there or not. And I had ideas of like giving headlines after its heist to be like, they caught them next to the some paint trail, picking something up, but no one really knows who that person is. So I thought I could make a world where there's tons of cryptids in it and humans have no idea, but the cryptids kind of know there are others there. I thought that was so interesting. And since it was my game, I allowed myself the freedom to go all in. and thought, I love that. I would like that to exist, so I kind of made it.
So, Dean, as you have been playtesting the game, putting the game on the table, people playing these raccoons in a trench coat, is there anything that happened in that process? So something that happened and a change to the game that directly came from watching people play it?
Yes, because that is what playtesting is about. It's seeing.
Right.
It's good when it shows you that things are working, but it's best when it shows you what is not. And through playtesting, I also leaned it a lot, but mostly it helped me with the criminal callings, which are my archetypes, my pre-made raccoon roles. I realized what my players were doing, all aligned with specific roles that they wanted to see. Because I started with 3, and then I mentioned the thief, the brain, and the brawn, and then I split the thief into the snake and the face, so I could put more players in. But I had people that wanted to. There's always one person that wants even more chaos that you offer them. There's some players that want to be a little bit more mechanical or strategic, even in a place where everything is chaotic. So through them, I kind of made like 4 or 5 additional roles. Some of them made it in, some of them did not. The most interesting one is the Raccoon Fu Master, which is
okay.
The name came specifically from one of my players. She came to it and it was like, I want to be this. And I was like, that sounds very interesting. How can we make it into an actual character? And I had like the idea from the Kung Fu Panda movies have a teacher that always goes about inner peace, but at the same time they are the most irritated character in the world. So that was it. That was what it became, a person that acts like everything is calm, but at the end they're neurotic as it goes. So most, if not all, of my criminal callings came directly from playtesting, and they also, the way the abilities are handled, because I mentioned I tried leveling systems, I tried a lot before I settled into 4 main things, which 2 of them are passive. I wanted something to feel good when you're on top of the stack, something to feel good when you're inside the trenchcoat. So I gave them an ability they can use once per scene, when they can do a big swing, even when they're not directly controlling the code. They also helped me realize that if I'm gonna give a universal passive, it should be something that is both positive and negative at the same time.
Right.
It's lovely to have the opportunity to be able to run the game for so many different people, because your friends are gonna love most of the things you're presenting to them.
Yep.
But running it for strangers it takes a lot of self-realization to be like, okay, this is not working. I'm gonna take it off.
Yep.
And it's strangers that's gonna tell you that, or very, very good friends.
Right. Are there things that didn't make it into what is the current or final version of Trenchcoat? So things that you had to put aside that you think you might revisit later, not necessarily for this game, but you could see those ideas maybe in a future game. So they're a good idea, just not good for this game.
Mm-hmm. I mentioned I wanted like a headquarters system. I think that's wonderful. I've seen it a bit, played around a bit with it with Vasen. And I would like to do something that is a little bit more mobile, more not be core, just something you can use, because Trenchcoat Raccoons sits in a weird space that is both something that you can run its heist individually on its own, and it has some continuation, which is mostly for people that, like me, like to dig in the lore and the little bits and crumbs I left in the margins. But I want something that I want to create something that moves a space around with you. It's something that I tried here. It didn't fit the vibe, but I kept it to be like maybe someday somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think a lot of people really like, to be able to call a space their own, and it's more mechanical in a way. It's more written out.
Yeah, I tend to like those things too. Like Boston is a perfect example. The whole way the headquarters works there. I like group sheets, right? So like I like the group sheets and Blades in the Dark. Monster of the Week now has them. They crew sheets themselves, and it's neat to have an entity that you all work towards building, and it can be like a headquarters, right? Or it can be just, the group, the crew, as a collective. So I think that's very, very cool.
I will have to put like a little bit of an asterisk. There's an issue that I find a lot, which is probably the biggest challenge as a designer. There's something I like to call like the video game problem, where you have a lot of some players that start to approach the game through the abilities and the stats and the numbers you put in front of them, instead of falling back into them when you need to. I think the best example I can come up with is when you introduce players in D&D for the first time to the concept of insight checks. And from then on, every conversation dissolves into, do I believe them? I roll an insight check. Until then, they could talk for hours in character, and they would read on hints on the DM's voice. But the moment you introduce that, it's like, that's all the conversations become. So I am always a little bit of weary of putting too many things in front of them. They do circle back eventually when they become very comfortable with the rules, and they go back to the RP first. But it's something that I always think is a very big challenge to keep in mind when designing.
100%, right? And there is a risk by mechanizing things.
Exactly.
By putting structure around things, it inherently limits them, which can be a good thing or it could be definitely a dangerous thing. I think it's a really good point, and I think there's just designers that don't fully take that in to consideration, or they haven't thought about it in that exact type of frame. So I think that's excellent.
Well, to be honest, some games are made to be crunchy. They have to.
Yep.
But for me, it becomes a board game or a video game, and that's not where I want to put my focus in. I'm not bashing those type of players. They're very valid to do and enjoy that kind of thing, but it's not how I enjoy things. So I take that challenge because I want to avoid it. I don't think everyone needs to take it into consideration. Maybe some people are like, this is not very video gamey enough, I want it to be more. But for me, it's like, I don't want that much of crunch. I want just enough to facilitate things, to have people fall back into when they need to.
Yeah. So guys, we're going to take one more break, but before we do take that break, you can scroll down right now. We've got links for you to be able to pick up Trenchcoat and grab onto it. We're going to take a quick break though. On the other side of this break, we're going to find out for Dean, what is his one thing worth sharing? We'll be right back.
This is Sean. You may have heard of me from such movies as Brett and Sean Go to Illinois, 2 Motorcycles, 1 Stick of Dynamite, and Gaming and BS. What kind of RPG podcast is that? After my NFTs were stolen, I decided to become a patron of Third Floor Wars. The content is great and it costs me less than a good shot of liquor. So consider becoming a patron. It may just land you your next big role. Head over to patreon.com/Third Floor Wars. Tell Craig Sean sent you.
So Dean, I like to end all my interviews getting an understanding. Now that we understand how you started, We understand how you made your game. I want to talk about what you like to consume, right? So is there recently a video game, a TV show, a movie, a board game, or music that has really kind of captured your imagination and your focus?
Okay. So, just to preface this, I consume media with the zest of a librarian in Alexandria that just started to sniff the smoke. But because I'm very deep into the crowdfunding, pre-launch and all that stuff, I had to take a step back. So nothing very new. I've fallen back into things I enjoyed before, just so I can have something comforting. And there is a possibility that what I'm gonna suggest people are very tired of hearing or hearing it for the first time. I will urge everyone that hasn't to go and listen to the audiobook version of Dungeon Crawler Carl, because that is a wildly entertaining experience. Matt Denneman managed to take a very niche genre and give it wide appeal. And it also, since it kind of has a Patreon of people voting about stuff, it kind of ties to the collaborating storytelling experience, although a bit more centralized. I think it's very worth going into. It has some surprising depth. And yeah, give it a shot if you haven't, or if you're just on the fence and tired of hearing your friends rave about it, go on, give it a shot.
I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and definitely understood its appeal. It was a surprise for me, though, that it is as big as it is. That I wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah, exactly. I think I found it at the beginning of that final wave last year, and I had it in my Audible wishlist. Like, yeah, I'll give it a shot, and I was hooked beyond reason. I get that Carl is an audience stand-in. He's very perfect, maybe to a fault. He has all the right ideas. Yeah. He has incredible amounts. He's a min-maxer in a way that people can be. I would do that. No one will do that. Not even Carl would do that in reality. But I would like to be him. And he's also, in a strange and weird way, the most healthy male protagonist I've seen in a while.
Interesting.
With the way that he resolves his trauma, and he, the way that he reflects on things that we've all have been through, like a breakup, and he's like, yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
I can go through that. I can be a bigger person. He does that in a bit of a too perfect way sometimes. But we need that. We kind of need that as audience to consume, to have like okay, I can do that. If he can do that, I can do that. It's not that bad. It's not that hard.
That's really interesting, Dean. I had not thought about Carl as a commentary on masculinity, and he kind of is.
Oh, definitely.
I don't think and it seems obvious now that you've said it and I think about it, but I don't think it registered when I listened to it. I didn't read it. That's interesting. I'm going to have to think about that.
I haven't read it. I've only listened to it. I believe it counts.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone agrees.
Oh, I do too.
Good. But I think because the narrators, I forget his first name. I think it's Hayes. Don't quote me on that. I'm very bad at names. But he gave him the most alpha male voice he could. So for me, it's like, okay, there are some things that are not what I would expect usually. And I like that. It's a bit refreshing.
Yeah, no question. So it's funny that the one that you brought is not new, right? It's something that's been around for a long time, because my one thing to share is also something that's been around for a long time that I just recently revisited. So I've been rewatching the Showtime series, Penny Dreadful.
Ooh.
I think I forgot how good it is. And I've really enjoyed this rewatch. And I think this is my third rewatch. I think I've watched it twice beforehand, and the one thing in that show that either I forgot or didn't pick up on is the Frankenstein storyline, and the Frankenstein character and the monster and the bride. there's a lot going on in that show. That's one thing. You've got several protagonists. You've got several lead characters. There's not a single one. It's definitely a group effort. And for whatever reason, this time going through the show, the side story of Frankenstein and the monster and the bride is really hitting at a level that I had not done before. So if you've not watched Penny Dreadful, I highly recommend it. It's got elements of horror. It's got it's a sexy show. There's a lot of sexiness to the show. The show really goes hard on themes of trauma, themes of society and of class. And I think it's definitely, worth your time. So, Dean, there's a lot of really cool things to do on a Sunday afternoon, like going back and listening to Dungeon Crawl Carl again. But you decided to spend it with me, and I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a blast, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to babble about my weird little games. It's very much appreciated, and I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad. And for those of you listening, guess what? You made it. It's the end. And if you've got enough spoons, make sure you take care of yourself. If you've got a few extra, take care of somebody else. Oh, that was good, man. That was really good.
Thank you.
Did you want to do a bumper?
Well, yeah, for sure. Should I put like a Trenchcoat Raccoons is coming on GameFound or something?
Not necessarily. Okay. No, that'll be in the show notes.
Okay.
Yeah, because one of the things that I've tried to do on the show is to make it not a promotional show.
Perfect. Because I also found don't really like that. Because
I find that
I hate writing copy and stuff.
Yeah.
That is like ugh.
Yeah, I find that the show sells the game by talking about the game, which is exactly. I mean, you make the game sound great, and we learned that through that process. So, so the mic is yours, Dean. You can do as many cuts as you want, and then I'll pick a bumper and put it in the rotation. So the mic is yours. Hey, are you still here? Look, the podcast is over. And you sat through all of the breaks and bloopers? Well, I mean, if you're here, you might as well run over to patreon.com and become a supporter. Don't forget to rate and review this podcast too while you're at it, on whatever platform you're listening to. I do appreciate you sticking around. Take care.